Howdy there, partner. This is Ella. And today, we're going back to the basics. That's right. Back to the basics. Part 1. In my previous video, I said this. That I definitely need to learn more about anatomy, so I'm definitely gonna find some books and watch more anatomy videos. I said that. That's right. That was foreshadowing. But I've been wanting to learn anatomy and just like get a better grasp of the fundamentals for a while. I've tried doing like figure drawings and stuff back in the olden days, but then I get busy. So I'm gonna make it a series. So I have to do all the basics. So let's get going. I went to several places to get different things to help, and all of these things will be linked in the description if you also want to do it too. The first thing I used was a skull reference from the website called Sketchfab. I just like moved it around and I just drew it from different angles, not really thinking too much on like the shapes and stuff. I was looking for patterns and consistencies. I saw a wall. I continued to go skull to skull. The skull from Sketchfab was really nice too because every single part of it was like color coded on like the different chunks. So it was really like nice to like have everything mapped out. One thing I noticed when I was drawing the skull, the one facing a little to the side, it made kind of like a little W shape that I noticed, like a little indent around like the hairline. So I kept that in mind to use as a guide to help me later when I was doing the other ones. When people make drawing like head tutorials, I know there's so many ways that people go about it, like the circle or like the square, like face cylinders and stuff. And I think some people have referred to it as looking like a sheet of paper. I don't know who that did, but I know it's like a common thing. I think that when it's paired not with like the circle, but more so thinking of it and as like a more spherical shape, it really helped me. I also kept adding like a circle to the side of the head next to the W indent. I think the circle on the side of the head is something that a lot of people do too. So after I was done with the Sketchfab skull, I switched it up. I switched it up a little bit. I got the Morpho book, Skeleton and Bone reference points. I'll be definitely using that in the future when I'm going to do the other parts of the body because it's very useful. When I was sketching these skulls, I started to also notice when I added the cheekbone, it almost kind of looked like a half helmet, and it also made figuring out the placement of the face like a lot easier. The book that I kept referring to and looking at was probably the most helpful asset out of like everything that I was looking up. Another thing that made this feel less tedious was I kept changing the brush I used from time to time. I think when doing practices like these over and over, it could be kind of discouraging because it almost feels like, at least for me, when I'm drawing something I don't really know how to draw, it looks really like not how I pictured it, so it just makes me be like, oh, did I just like forget how to draw? And I also have a bad habit of deleting some layers the second I realize I don't like it. But let's not do that because we can see the improvement later down the line, and it's really good. And after I had enough of that, I moved on to drawing faces and just like different angles just to have some more fun after I was doing a bunch of different angles. The angles I'm not used to were still kind of hard, but using the tactics I learned while studying the basics made trying to map everything out a lot more easier than if I was going in blind, which was nice. I did a few random doodles simplifying the parts of the drawing of like the faces and stuff and skulls that I learned. This is where it also felt a lot easier and less stressful to do. I whipped up a thumbnail here at the end where I was line arting some of the skulls that I had sketched out previously, and halfway in making the thumbnail, it was a day 2, and I went back to a few more practices or had to commit things to memory because you can't just do everything one day. You gotta keep on practicing. And the next part was necks, and I also used the same book, and I just want to say, I don't like drawing necks. This was not fun! I didn't have any fun! This was boring, and the only thing I really like kept notice of when drawing the necks is like there's a V shape kind of in the center where the other two things are like sticking out that I'll like circle. I like the little like collarbone. I like doing the collarbone a lot more than the neck itself. I don't know why. I'm not having fun! But yeah, this was part 1, and I think I'm slowly going to make my way through whenever I have free time and gonna do maybe a comparison from how I was at before versus how I am later. I don't know.